D block elements, let us discuss about D block elements. D block elements means the entering electron which enters into the D shell or D subshell are known as D block elements, and the main space of D block elements in the periodic table are, they belongs to 3rd to 12th groups, comes under D block elements, and they lie in between P block elements and S block elements. In between S block and P block elements, the D block elements lie in the long form of the periodic table. So these three are the D block elements. First series, they are classified into 4 series, like first series, which is also known as 3D series, and 3D series, the elements scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper and zinc. So are belongs to 3D series, and the atomic number from 21 to 30 comes under 3D series. And the next kind of D block elements are second series, which is also known as 4D series. In 4D series, the last electron enter into the 4D orbital, that's why they are known as 4D series elements. So from yttrium to cadmium comes under 4D series, and the atomic number 39 to 48 comes under 4D series. So yttrium, zirconium, niobium, molybdenum, technetium, ruthenium, rhodium, palladium, silver and cadmium. So these elements comes under 4D series. Next, coming to the 3D series third series are 5D series. In these elements, the last electron enters into the 5D orbital, that's why they are known as 5D series. So from lanthanum to lutetium comes under 5D series. Lanthanum, that means atomic number 57 to mercury, so comes under 5D series. So lanthanum, hafnium, titanium, tungsten, rhenium, osmium, iridium, platinum, palladium and mercury. So these elements comes under 5D series. So 3D, 4D, 5D and 6D series is also there, but it is an incomplete series. So what is the difference between D block elements and transition series? Both are not same. In D block elements, the last electron entering into the D orbital, the elements are known as D block elements. But the transition elements means, in transition elements, the n-1 d orbital partially filled. So the elements whose n-1 d orbital is partially filled, that elements are known as transition elements. So all the transition elements are D block elements, but not all the D block elements comes to transition elements. So a transition element is defined as the one which has incompletely filled d orbitals in its ground state or in any one of its ground state. They are known as transition elements. So they are not equal. All the transition elements are equal to D block, but all the D block elements are not the transition elements. For example, if I take zinc, zinc is a D block element, but it is not a transition element, because in zinc the d orbital is completely filled. That's why zinc does not belongs to transition element, but it belongs to D block element. So this is the reason how the D block elements and transition elements different. All D block elements are not transition elements, but all transition elements are D block elements. So example is, already I have discussed that zinc example, which has D10 configuration, which means D orbital is completely filled, that's why it is a D block element, but it is not a transition element as because the D orbital is completely filled. Because what we have already defined, the transition element means in which the n-1 d orbital is partially filled, but in zinc the n-1 d orbital is completely filled, that's why it comes under D block element, but it is not a transition element. So let us see the electronic configuration of D block elements. First I take 3D series from scandium to zinc. The general electronic configuration of D block elements is NS 0 or 1 or 2, n-1 D 1 to 10. So this is the general electronic configuration of D block elements. So coming to the scandium, whose electronic number is 21, and the electronic configuration is 4s2 3d1, titanium 22, whose electronic configuration is 4s2 3d2, and vanadium 4s2 3d3, and chromium. So coming to the chromium, actually we expected that the electronic configuration of chromium is taken as 4s2 3d4, but instead of that one, practically we can see that the electronic configuration of chromium is 4s1 3d5, because one electron from 4s goes to 4d, the 3d orbital, because half filled or completely filled are more stable. So in order to get the stable electronic configuration, one electron from 4s orbital comes to 3d orbital. That's why the electronic configuration of chromium is practically 4s1 and 3d5. That means both 4s and 3d orbitals are half filled and are more stable, so that practically the electronic configuration of chromium is 4s1 and 3d5. And manganese again 4s to 3d5, iron 4s to 3d6, cobalt 4s to 3d7, nickel 4s to 3d8. But copper, again we can see that in copper actually we expected that the electronic configuration of copper is 4s to 3d9, but in practical the electronic configuration of copper is 4s1 3d10. So because 4s1 is half filled and 3d10 is completely filled, which is a more stable electronic configuration, that's why copper adapted that configuration instead of 4s to 3d9. And last one is zinc, 4s to 3d10. So these are the electronic configuration of 3d series. So coming to the oxidation state, d block elements or transition elements have variable oxidation states because they have very small energy difference between the ns orbital and n-1 d orbital. So we can take the electrons easily from ns and as well as n-1 d orbitals. That's why they have variable oxidation states. So all the d block elements exhibit variable oxidation states because we can take the electrons or we can remove the electrons from ns and as well as n-d orbitals very easily, as because the electronic difference between the ns orbital and n-1 d orbital is very less. So coming to the 3d series, our first series, scandium, which can exhibit +3 oxidation state. The +3 oxidation state of scandium is due to the loss of 2 electrons from ns orbital and then 1 electron from 3d orbital. That's why it exhibits +3 oxidation state. Coming to titanium, it can exhibit 3 variable oxidation states, +2, +3 and +4. So due to the +2, the least, the minimum oxidation state of titanium is due to the loss of electrons from ns orbital, and it exhibits maximum +4 oxidation state. The higher oxidation state of titanium is due to the loss of electrons from ns orbital and as well as n-1 d orbitals. So coming to the vanadium, it exhibits +2, +3, +4 and +5. So minimum is +2 again due to the loss of ns electrons, and it exhibits +5 maximum oxidation state due to the loss of electrons from both ns and n-1 d orbitals. So coming to the chromium, it exhibits +2 to +6, +2, +3, +4, +5 and +6 oxidation states. So the maximum oxidation state it exhibits +6 in K2Cr2O7, potassium dichromate, and it exhibits minimum oxidation state of +2 due to the loss of electrons from ns orbital and +6 due to the loss of electrons from both s and d orbitals. So next, manganese. In this series, the maximum oxidation state exhibited by the element is manganese, which can exhibit +7 oxidation state. Next, iron, it exhibits +2, +3, +4 and +6. Cerium +2, cobalt +2, +3, +4, nickel +2, +3, +4, copper +1, +2 and zinc +2. So copper exhibits only +1 and +2 oxidation states. The minimum oxidation state of copper is +1. This is due to the loss of electrons from the 4s orbital. And from scandium to zinc, in 3d series, the minimum oxidation state is +1, which can be exhibited by copper, and the maximum oxidation state is +7, which can be exhibited by manganese. So the elements which give the greatest number of oxidation state occur in or near the middle of the series. For example, if I take manganese, it exhibits +2 to +7 variable oxidation states. Elements in the beginning of the series exhibit fewer oxidation states. That means the oxidation states increases from scandium to manganese and then decreases from manganese to zinc. Elements at the end of the series show fewer oxidation states because they have 2 different electrons in d orbitals. Next, variable valency. Unlike S and P block elements, D block elements show variable oxidation states due to the loss of electrons in ns and n-1 d orbitals. They show minimum oxidation state due to the loss of electrons in ns orbital, and they exhibit maximum oxidation state due to the loss of electrons in the n-1 d orbitals. So minimum, we can see the minimum oxidation state in the d orbitals is +1, except chromium, copper, silver, gold and mercury. all the transition elements exhibit the minimum oxidation state of +2. And also you can see maximum oxidation state. Elements from 3rd B to 8B group shows maximum oxidation states equal to the group number. But in 3D series, manganese shows +7 oxidation state. In 4D series, ruthenium exhibit maximum oxidation state +8. In 5D series, osmium exhibit maximum oxidation state +8. The number of oxidation states increases moving from left to right in a period actually. So relative stability of various oxidation states. Now let us discuss about the relative stability of various oxidation states exhibited by the D block elements. That's because we have already discussed about the variable oxidation states that are exhibited by the D block elements. So if the elements in their oxidation states have D0, D5 or D10 electronic configuration, in that particular oxidation state that elements are more stable. If I take manganese +2 which have D5 electronic configuration, it is more stable. If it exhibits +4 oxidation state, it contains D3 which is less stable. So in their oxidation states, if the elements have D0 electronic configuration or D5 electronic configuration or D10 electronic configuration, that elements are more stable. The higher oxidation state of molybdenum, technetium in 4D series and tungsten and radium in 5D series are more stable than the corresponding oxyanions of chromium and manganese. So in going down a group, the stability of the higher oxidation state increases while that of the lower oxidation state decreases. So transition elements cannot form ionic compounds in their higher oxidation states, but they can form the ionic compounds in their lower oxidation state. And also the ionic character decreases with increasing the oxidation state of transition elements. So coming to the magnetic property. So all the D block elements may exhibit magnetic property, but the main criteria for the element to exhibit magnetic property is the element should contain an unpaired electron in its d orbital. Then only that element can exhibit the element can exhibit magnetic property. Substances which contain a species, whether it is an atom, ion or molecule with unpaired electrons in their orbitals are said to be paramagnetic. And paramagnetic substances are weakly attracted by the magnetic field, strongly attracted by if it is strongly attracted, they are called as ferromagnetic substances. So substances which do not contain any unpaired electrons are repelled by the magnetic field and they are known as diamagnetic substances. That means based on magnetic properties, the substances are classified into 3 types: paramagnetic substances, diamagnetic substances and ferromagnetic substances. Substances which contain any unpaired electrons comes under paramagnetic substances which are weakly attracted by the magnetic field. If the substances which do not contain any unpaired electrons are said to be diamagnetic, which are repelled by the magnetic field. So transition elements usually contain unpaired electrons, so they are paramagnetic. So paramagnetic behavior increases with increasing the number of unpaired electrons. Suppose if I take manganese +2, D5 electronic configuration, it contains 5 unpaired electrons, so it has maximum paramagnetic behavior. Suppose if I take manganese +4, D3 electronic configuration, it contains only 3 unpaired electrons, so the magnetic property of manganese +3 or manganese +4 is less when compared to manganese +2. So paramagnetism is expressed in terms of magnetic moment, and that magnetic moment is related to number of unpaired electrons, and we can calculate the magnetic moment of a particular substance, that means a particular paramagnetic substance, in the spin only formula, and which is mu is equal to √n into n plus 2 Bohr magnetons. So magnetic moment is measured in terms of Bohr magnetons. So mu, which means magnetic moment, is equal to √n into n plus 2, where n is number of unpaired electrons. N is number of unpaired electrons, Bm is nothing but Bohr magneton. Suppose if the compound has single unpaired electron, it has a magnetic moment of 1.73 Bohr magnetons. So magnetic moment of an electron is due to its spin angular momentum and orbital angular momentum. Next, another important specific character of D block elements, they can have a tendency to form complexes. So the cations of transition elements have great tendency to form complexes with several molecules such as ammonia, water, etc., and anions such as Cn-, Cl-, etc. The transition metal cations with relatively smaller in size and have high charge can form the stable complexes, which means the metal ion or the metal cation with smaller in size and greater in charge can form the more stable complex. The transition metal cations which have vacant n-d orbitals can form the complex very easily. So the transition metals which shows variable oxidation states can form the complexes readily. So all the electropositive character, as the electropositive character decreases on moving down the group and increases from left to right, the electropositive character, the transition elements can form stable complexes with the molecules containing nitrogen and oxygen. So catalytic activity. So another important property that is exhibited by the D block elements are their catalytic property or catalytic activity. So in most of the reactions we can use the transition elements as catalytic compounds. And so most transition elements and their compounds have good catalytic property. For example, if I take vanadium pentoxide, which is used as a catalyst in the manufacturing of sulfuric acid in the contact process, and also nickel, which can be used as a catalyst in the hydrogenation of alkenes and alkynes. In the hydrogenation of ethylene, nickel can be used as a catalyst. Platinum is used as a catalyst in the conversion of SO2 into SO3 by air and oxidation of ammonia to nitric oxide. Iron is used as a catalyst in the manufacturing of ammonia by the Haber's process. So N2 plus 3H2 giving rise to 2NH3 in the presence of iron. Thank you.